Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning trading session. The market's just opened up about a minute or so ago, and let's see what's going on. I'm following the NASDAQ here this morning as usual, but I'm happy to take a look at any market which is of interest to you. I'm anticipating another soft day, another quiet day, but we'll see how this plays out. You can see the overnight was fairly active. For those of you in Europe or on the East Coast, if you're an early riser, it looks like there were some decent signals here and a decent trend. And the market did eventually fall off a little bit yesterday in the afternoon session, in spite of being very choppy and very sideways for most of yesterday morning. We'll see what they do today. So we've got a little bit of an opening gap, it looks like, relative to where we left off. And oops, I was going to say it does look as though the traders are trying to get into that gap. We're getting a trend change signal here on the Falcon, and look at where it's occurring right here at our primary support. Oh, come on, give me a chance here. I'm taking too long to explain things. I should throw the order on first and then explain it. So our trend change signal here on the Falcon occurs when the trend line changes color. So we go from green to red on the trend line. We have this characteristic down, up, down pattern. So we see the sellers take control, the buyers try to fight it back, and then the sellers take control once more, and our signal generate. So this tends to be a pretty good signal when it develops. Getting a little bit of a reaction now to the breakdown through this primary support. May have to hold on to that one for a little bit. Oh, we're also into the hard edge here on the Eagle. The Eagle's hard edge seems to coincide with the primary support on the support and resistance suite. But it's still early. You know, its opening range is always tough. I try not to get too carried away with opening range. Especially when the market seems to be waffling. All right, so now we're generating buy signals. So we got that bounce off of the primary. We're testing the top end of this trading range now. I know that I've got the two dots here. If this bar finishes to the upside, it is going to print a hash mark. So I used my logic counter to anticipate where that market would print that bar. And what I'm looking for here is, since prices did not seem to follow through to the downside, I'm testing the top end of the trading range. Look at how deep I've decided to run my stop, however. What I'm looking for here is the breakout and the retest. Because we're in a sideways range, the best course of action is actually to wait for the retest of this signal. And by that I mean we let the prices break out, come back, retest this whole resistance area, and now come back with a buy signal. The signal that will generate off of this bounce, that's the one. This one right here, that's the more predictable signal. And that also happens to be a late filter entry. So let's see now whether we get any follow through on that, or if the market is going to fail here as well. Come on, buyers. Once I see the buyers step in, oh dear. I was going to say I need to see the buyers step in here one more time so I can start doing something with my stops, and they're not going to. No, it's going to be another one of those just whipsaw back and forth type of days. Yeah. So the buyers and sellers, non-existent. There's no follow through on the breakout to the upside, no follow through to the breakout on the downside. It was worth a try. It was just a single contract. Oh, look at this. Don't you dare turn. So had I not been stopped out at this level, let's say my stop was down here. Had I not been stopped out, I would now be rolling my stop to here. And if the buyers come back, we're going to pretend for a second that this bar finishes green. Oh, okay. Well, they're not even going to allow me to do that. I was going to say I would start to roll my stop behind every green bar, but they're not even allowing me to show you that. I have a feeling the hawk is going to be the way to go today. First micro macro cross here, first micro macro cross here, at least with the hawk and the shorter profit objective. It looks like we'll be able to at least reach those targets. And it might be a good idea maybe even to tighten your profit objective on your other tools for the exact same reason. All right. So it does look like there was a little bit more follow through to the downside. Is that going to be sustained though, or is this going to be this morning's range? So hard to tell right now. Okay, we're getting a so now that we're through here, you see we've gotten the breakout. We're getting the retest. We're looking for the sell signal. I would take it below the low, maybe cover it above the primary. So you see the breakout now, the breakout of the low. Here is the retest. I'm anticipating the signal to print after this warning dot. So there we go. There's our signal. Now I could take it right on the hash mark, but I'm opting to take it below the low of this bar right here, this swing low. Okay, so here's the signal again, off of a little bit of a trend line touch. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can't run this one out a little bit now. Come on. Come on. Oh, there's a lot going on down here right now. There we go. Come on. I don't believe it. No, they're going to tap me here too. This is going to end up being the big range for this morning, and I can just see them continuing to drift sideways. So possible trend change signal now to the upside. We really got to see the sellers start pushing. So this is really the last attempt now on the part of the sellers. I might go to a more aggressive stop strategy like the bar high low and follow them down. At least reduce the risk exposure a little bit if they choose to turn at this point again. Have we got our $50 target? Okay, so we would have our $50 target if we were tightening our stops a little bit. That was a little bit of a nail biter, let me tell you. So I left a runner in here instead of taking the profit on target in hopes of offsetting that earlier loss a little bit. And again, I'm keeping the stops very tight. We're back down, I think, toward the lows of this morning. Yes, we are. Oh, we just took out the lows of this morning. Okay, well, not a bad effort for a choppy market. I'm glad that the primary support held this market down. You see how close they got to our trailing stop or our exit stop. And, you know, in a day like today or even yesterday, you've got to keep your stops back. You've got to keep them back as far as you can afford. If you're scared to lose money, you will lose money. You need to risk an appropriate amount. And I don't mean you need to throw, you know, $500 in a trade and say, oh, that's an appropriate amount. What I mean is that structurally you need to give your trade a reasonable amount of room to sort itself out. And that's not always easy to do, I know. Okay, a little bit more follow through on this trade. We're back down here to the median line. Oh, I thought that was primary support. It was primary resistance. We're back here to the median line now on the Falcon. Had another first micro macro cross here on the Hawk while we were watching our Falcon trade. And we had a trend change signal here on the Eagle. How nice. Now, I'll admit this one would have been a little bit of a nail biter because we haven't really seen a retest of the highs, right? As it turns out in hindsight, this was actually the retest. Even though it traded higher than this peak right here, you would know it was the retest when you took out this low. Once you start seeing the lows fail, then you can be pretty sure that we've seen a top or something resembling a top. But even so, you know, we've got that same pattern that we're looking at the Falcon, the breakout, the retest. Here's the signal. It's coming off of the hard edge. But here too, you're going to need to risk it. Don't risk it right here. Don't risk it right here. You know, the market may try to make a larger pullback. You have to try to risk it as far back as you can afford. If you can afford up there, great. Okay, well, obviously I can't. What about halfways? This little hiccup in there. Okay, I can afford that. That gives me some staying power. Now, as it turns out, the Eagle did not reach back any further, but if it did, at least you've got some sort of chance at riding out this pullback. So a nice signal there on the Eagle as well. Almost textbook. It would have been textbook if we had seen a little bit more of a test of the extreme right there. All right, what's going on in the gold market today? And you can see gold also kind of wishy-washy here, going a little bit sideways. Overall, I think where are they trading now? So 1113. I do believe that's up from yesterday. Yesterday they were trading around 1110. Or sorry, 1105. That was yesterday. All right, well, I thought for a moment when I first glanced at gold there that perhaps we had a signal brewing, but no, not yet. Yeah, Tony says they heard me grunting all the way to Moose Jaw on that last trade. Yeah, just about. I got caught a little bit of a lucky break, I'll admit. Derek's asking, Eric, have you ever looked at the Felton bars? No, I can't say that I have. I pretty much stick with the mean Renko bars. But of course, the nice thing about DTS is it is a very robust system. So, if you have a favorite tool or a favorite indicator, it will still work with that. All right, so what have we got going on now? Oh, don't tell me we actually have a trend. Gold's heading higher, NASDAQ and crude are heading lower, or attempting to head lower. Crude oil and oh no, not that precise. I was going to say crude oil and the NASDAQ are looking very similar, but not entirely so. I was going to pull over a crude oil chart here and show you, but not quite close enough. Sometimes you look at these things and the charts are almost mirror images of each other. Okay, so things slowing a little bit. I'm not going to get too cute in the face of what appears to be a downtrend forming, but I'm going to point out this green bar sell here on the hawk. Now, the green bar sell is one of these signals we can either trade it with trend, in which case we would set it up, probably like this. And in this instance, I would be looking for a retest of the lows. So we would have hit our profit objective. But the nice thing with the green bar sell is you can also trade it as a failure. So in other words, we would look to buy it on a move higher. The nice thing about the green bar sell is because it tends to develop near the end of a downtrend, we can probably cover the trade below the low. So we definitely will know if we're on the wrong side of this trade. You don't always need to trade the green bar sell. You can simply use it as an early warning also. If this trade is unraveling, or this trend is unraveling, we will produce a first micro macro cross signal approximately in the same neighborhood as this green bar sell. So you can look to buy the failure, or you can wait for the first micro macro cross on the buy side. All right, it's starting to look as though if these lows hold, we will have had a test of the lows, our test of the extreme, and that prices may head higher from here. So I'm going to throw this green bar sell failure in here, and we'll see how this unwinds. It's a little bit of a more aggressive trade for this type of day. Trying to get the first micro macro cross signal. We've got the warning dots, but our macro line is still out of sync. So this is not a first micro macro cross that you're seeing build here. Okay, now we're coming in with a red bar buy. Now the red bar buy is the opposite of the green bar sell. It tends to develop in an uptrend. This is a very, very short-lived uptrend though. See this little move right here. I guess it just depends how aggressive you want to get on the trade. The nice thing about doing the red bar buy here is that once again you can cover below the low and probably take a little bit of risk out of the trade. And in fact, what I should do is throw a single on there. And it has a little bit less risk exposure. Are we below the low? Yep. So even more aggressive than the green bar sell is this red bar buy. And we're getting it off of a higher swing low. The problem is we're also getting lower swing highs. So we see the market starting to wedge up a little bit. Okay, come on, give me a green bar here, and then I can start rolling my stop. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the buyers to show that they're going to hold this support area. Otherwise, I'm going to try to keep my stop below the lows. And again, this is very, very aggressive. Whew. Caught a break there. Caught a break. The buyers showed up in a hurry and just bolted the market higher. And so now here comes the first micro macro cross signal. Everything is in sync. We failed here on the green bar sell. In other words, we've broken the high of the green bar sell. I know I tell you this is a signal I almost take without exception, and I'm taking too long to explain things again. And there we go. We hit our first micro macro cross target. Hooray! Not much follow through there either, though. What is with that? The Raptor now into the hard edge, as is the Eagle. We're starting to see the effects of that. All right. We're getting a little bit of into a decision mode here. We see the market has kind of broken this downtrend. We should see a reaction to that. I have a feeling we're back to where we had that original breakout. So, or very close to it. So we're seeing a major retest now. So we first had the little retest. Now we're getting a much bigger retest of the same area that broke down earlier. Wow. Okay, so it looked like the sellers had control the first time. And now the buyers look like they've come back with a vengeance. I know I'm letting them run here a little bit. You're probably wondering, Eric, what are you doing? Why aren't you getting in there? Brian says the New York Stock Exchange is up. The consumer confidence report came out and it's much stronger, obviously, than anticipated. Good. Yeah, and David says, I'm reluctant to get in at the highs. I don't let that bother me so much as I just want a solid setup. Because the market has been waffling so much the last couple of days, there was another first micro macro cross signal here I could have got on board on. Um, I was watching my gold chart, so that one took off without me. And we did get a decent trend change signal here on the Falcon also about the same time. But we'll get another chance here in a minute or two. Good morning, John. John's asking about the Raptor here. I'm going to have to get Ben to set up the Raptor like this out of the box because everybody's asking, how do you get the two clouds on your Raptor? And quite simply, John, this is something, if you're a Raptor owner, you might be interested in hanging out a little bit at the Raptor Facebook forum. And DTS owners, there's also a DTS Facebook forum. And if you need to get access information to that, you can just email Adam. Here's Adam's email address for you guys, adam@indicatorwarehouse.com. And this was actually something that one of the Raptor owners suggested, Ricardo, who was following the hard edge bounces. The hard edge bounce is a very high probability signal for the Raptor. And what Ricardo was finding is that sometimes the market was bouncing a little bit early, sometimes it was bouncing a little bit late. So what he did is he tweaked his clouds to accommodate for both. And it's really quite simple to do. Let me show you here really quick how to do it. You're going to go to your indicators, and you need to pull down here to these settings that say IW, and you're going to look for the one that says Raptor Cloud. Double click on that, and then you're going to find that you have two Raptor clouds in your assortment. The first cloud, the default cloud, I changed the brick size to 8, or the cloud size to 8. The second one, I left the default size of 12, and you're going to need to change the band color so that you can distinguish between the two. So I chose a different color for the band, and then you also need to choose a color for the band edge. And you can choose any color you like, it really doesn't matter. I just chose a couple different shades of blue, and then when everything is to your liking, you click apply, and voila! You now have two bands with two hard edges. Wow. Tony says he bought gas in Missouri yesterday for $1.48.9. That's pretty good. I thought I had a good deal when I was in Arizona last month, and I was buying it for $1.75, I think it was, a gallon. Gasoline here is now 94.9 cents a liter, so 95 cents a liter. In Alberta, however, I heard that it's down to 68 cents a liter, which would be approximately the same as what you're paying, Tony. Just real quick conversion here, 95 cents a liter, and the US gallon would be hold on a second, I did that wrong. Yeah, $3.59 a gallon. Plus, when you factor in the weak Canadian dollar, we're still paying like $4.50 a gallon. And we grow the stuff here. Well, not here so much in British Columbia, but right next door at Alberta. All right, so price is still here a little bit on the uptrend. We had a macro pullback signal here and a 4-arrow consolidation on the hawk. So with these 4-arrow consolidation patterns, you normally want to see the market at least go sideways. Ideally, in an uptrend, you want to see something that resembles a bull flag. So where the market actually retreats, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4 signals, and on that fourth signal, the market will tend to resume the rally. But a sideways pattern is okay too. I don't like it so much when the market starts drifting higher. Technically, this was also a 4-arrow consolidation. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the market started to rally off of the 4th signal. These, however, do not tend to follow through as well. Of course, this is the exception, but very often if you see a 4-arrow consolidation drifting higher, it doesn't always have this kind of follow through. Ideally, the best ones have this kind of structure. The second best ones are these that end up drifting sideways. All right, we're getting a macro pullback. It looks like the upward momentum is waning. All right, Ryman, see you later. Yeah, Tony, I might take you up on that. Tony says, bring the wife and the dog and stay with us. You can make money on gasoline and the exchange. Oh, when we came back from our little driving adventure over the Christmas break, we were supposed to spend more time in Mexico where the exchange isn't quite as brutal. But the accommodations were not as advertised, so we only ended up staying about 5 days there, and then we made our way back home through the States, spent a few days in Arizona, just south of Tucson a little bit. And we have friends spending the winter in Palm Desert, so we stopped in Palm Desert for a little bit. And I just got the visa statement the other day. Ooh, that exchange, it stings. Thank goodness when I trade in US dollars, so at least I can make a little bit of money back that way. Yeah, Derek, I know. I thought of you, Derek, when I was driving through Arizona, but it was very late at night. And I noticed that you Americans just consider the speed limit sign a suggestion. One thing I will say about American drivers, though, you guys are very good about merges. If you ever come to Canada, you're going to find that the people are quite, well, they're not ignorant, but they're ignorant in this, not in the sense of the word as in being mean, but ignorant in the sense that nobody up here knows how to merge. No word of a lie. If you're coming down the merge lane and you're trying to get into traffic, just go for it because people aren't smart enough to get out of your way. In the States, everybody's got their eye on that merge lane, and if somebody's coming down the merge lane, everybody gets over. Not here. As soon as I got back over the Canadian border, I think I was a couple miles into Canada, and somebody cut me off, and I said to my wife, "Yep, we're home." Yeah, Derek says we see that with the snowbirds. They don't know how to get out of the way on a merge lane. No, that's true. I hate to admit it. It's not true for everybody, but oh my gosh. All right, so let's see. We're seeing the market flounder a little bit sideways now. I don't know if we're going to see a run back down to the downside. We're testing all this support down here. getting a little bit of a sideways range going on. Possible trend change signal here. Should be looking for the market to either try to pick up the rally off of this support, or it's going to fold over on itself and head a little bit lower again. This whole 42.05 to about 42.08 range has been pretty significant for the NASDAQ this morning. Not quite at the high of the days, but pretty close. Okay, this is a little bit early, but we are getting a raptor signal here. And what I might do, actually, we'll just throw a onesie on it. Oops, wrong way. And I'll look to buy this one on a second push. Stops are going to go below the lows. And just looking for this hard edge bounce now and looking for a little bit of follow through here, perhaps to the upside. Like I say, it's still very, very early for this trade. This is a very aggressive type attempt to rally. Come on, get up there. So once again, they're coming down to test the bottom end of this trading range. Get up there. And I want to hold my stops just a little bit here below these swing lows. I don't want to get tagged just on a little bit of a hiccup there. All right, come on. There we go. Let's get that hard edge follow through. Let's go. Come on. There we go. All right, so we're back here to the highs now. We can anticipate a little bit of a reaction there, but I think we're going to see the NQ continue to rally as it looks as though the market is trying to pick up on some of that earlier momentum. And it looks as though the Raptor did trade back into the highs of this morning. Looks like they hit it right on the number, or is that a new high? Pretty darn close anyways. 42.11 3/4. Nope, hit the high of the day right on the number. And now we're seeing a little bit of a reversal. Okay, so we've had some opportunities this morning for sure. Saw that nice little rally to the upside. I know a lot of that kind of went by us, but not a problem. We're still looking for those higher probability signals, those chances to, our best chances to get in, I should say. It's pretty serious reaction to encountering the highs this morning. Good morning, Jim. Jim says, I'm sure you already assumed this. He's shooting some advanced decline numbers here. 2,400 on the buy, 500 on the sell. Yeah, that seems about right. Had a lot of buying pressure come through there. Oh, Derek, you're going to have to talk to Adam about that yourself. Oh, just watching these guys here try to get some traction. We're definitely going sideways right now. You can see we're getting a little bit of trading congestion going on. Derek's asking whatever happened to Mike Filigera. Well, Mike's still he's still got his own site. He's still loosely associated with Indicator Warehouse, but he's kind of doing things on his own. Same thing with Omar El Tuki, who is doing the Forex. Mike Filigera, for those of you who don't know who that is, Mike Filigera does or trades the stock market with the DTS system. And he had his own trading room for a while. I'm not sure if he still hosts it or not. I haven't spoken to Mike for a while. Oh, I didn't know that. Derek says he quit posting on Twitter, etc. And Omar's been real quiet too. Yes, I haven't heard a peep out of Omar for the longest time, so I think he's just busy doing his own thing at the moment. And Mike was a prolific writer. Oh my goodness, that man could write. Yeah, Derek says, I loved his posts. I swear Mike wrote about every thought that entered his head. That's the only way that you could write that much. All right, here's again a little bit more aggressive because the market's floundering around a little bit, but we're getting a late filter entry signal here on the Falcon, which tends to be a pretty good signal. I'm going to reserve the entry below the low, try to cover it above the high. No guarantees here that this market's actually going to tail off here, but the late filter entry signal comes about with the trend change. So we've got the green line going to the red. Here is the down portion. That's what's changed the trend line color. Here are the buyers trying to fight it back. And now here come the sellers. And that also happened to coincide with a late filter entry signal, which we know tends to be a pretty good signal, a high probability signal. But what's giving me pause is this big uptrend. I'm not a fan of counter trend trading in spite of what you've seen me do at times like this. I would much rather the signal came back with a buy signal. but I don't think we're going to get it. I think we're going to see it perhaps fall down here for a little bit. Paco, nice to see you in the room this morning. Paco asks, what happened to Ray Burke? Same thing. Ray had actually some personal issues, and he had to step aside from Indicator Warehouse for a little bit to deal with his life. But he's still involved in trading. Again, Ray, I haven't spoken to him. It's got to be at least 6 months since I touched base with Ray. I should actually shoot him an email, see what he's up to. All right, they're floundering a little bit here. You can see we've actually got a green dot on this bar. Very often I would end up canceling the order because of that, but we don't have much else going on here right now, so we'll just let it ride. And I just took a look at the clock here. It is the bottom of the hour, so this does tend to be the time of day where if there's going to be a reversal, we will see it occur at about 7:30 or 10:30 on the east. A lot of yellow bars here in the hawk, more or less printing on the same latitude. We do have a first micro macro cross signal printing here, and that has now also drifted into yellow bars, so that's off limits. And we can scrub our Falcon attempt. So I think we're going to be seeing stuff kind of moving sideways here. For a little bit longer. Derek, I've missed your sense of humor. Derek says Uncle Mohan has his own thing going on too. Yes. Yes, he does. And for those of you who don't know about Mohan, that is a very long story. Oh, what are they doing? All right, here they go. So we're with trend again. Crude oil and gold both on a little bit of a rally. Here was a nice red bar buy off crude oil. Another red bar buy. I do believe that one coincided with a trend line. Close enough. Another reason I like to draw trend lines on my chart is it just, it gives you that little extra bit of confidence sometimes for taking a signal. So there's the red bar buy. We're currently against the ATR. I would let the ATR flip over. So we would enter here. Could I risk it down there? No, I can't. Doggone crude oil market. Can I risk it to the hard edge? Yes, I can do that. It was a non-issue, however, because the market made a nice progression to the upside, hit our profit target. It has been a selective type of day today, though. You don't want to be getting too crazy with stuff. Well, I have to say that follow through is much stronger than I thought it would be. Okay, getting another first micro macro cross. What's the problem with this one though? Where do we cover the trade? So it's a solid signal, but where am I going to cover this thing? I can't cover it right there. That's too tight. When you see the market rally like this, there's a very real possibility you're going to get a macro pullback. So at the very least, you would need to cover it down here. And there we are. Let's see if it's going to press on through. Oh, they did. They did push high enough to hit the high probability target. Jim says the bank index is starting to look a little top heavy. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a retrace here. Just because, like I said, whenever you see on the hawk, just as for instance, whenever you see the market make such a strong move, it's not unusual to see it perhaps try to retrace here into the macro line, come back out with a macro pullback signal. So another 4-arrow consolidation here. This one's kind of going sideways. So we got 1, 2, 3, working on the 4th signal. I would probably suggest taking it above the high just because it's that kind of day. And maybe even just throwing a onesie on it. You don't want to get too carried away here. The problem with running a onesie is what's the best way to manage your trade? So I'm always a big one just for taking profit on target, but feel free to put a runner in there. The momentum does seem to be favoring the upside here. That this could go a little ways. Jim says the advanced decline, 2,400 on the buy, only shy of 500 on the sell. Look at that. They just kissed the profit target there. Had I taken it on the hash mark, we would already be there. Come on, get up there. Let's give it a little bit of a help. So they tapped me at break even. That's because I gave up a few ticks on the entry side. Had I taken it on the hash mark, I would have hit the profit target. That's all right. We'll let this play out here. Derek's saying we're into the value area highs. So for those of you who are watching Market Profile and such, that could tend to offer a little bit of a resistance to the market. What I look for in things like this, and we might see it better here on the Eagle. Maybe not. What I was going to show you is well, first off, we can draw a trend line. So you can shoot a trend line across the lows, and you can usually simulate a channel. And very often that will show you when the market starts to get a little bit shallow. The other thing I look for is the momentum. So we had a nice little leg up here, and then the market went a little sideways, which is okay. This leg's also a nice little rally, but look at how much shorter this leg is relative to this leg. Now, it's too early to say whether or not this leg is complete, but you can do this on your other charts as well. You can look at your Falcon, you can look at your Hawk, you can kind of get a feel for if the momentum is starting to decline. But certainly when we start coming up short of the top end of the trading range, that's very often an indication that the market momentum is tailing off a little bit. Jim's kind of confirming what I'm seeing. He says the DAX is starting to lose some steam as well. So a possible red bar buy forming here on the Hawk. And a possible trend change signal forming here on the Falcon. All right, so here's our red bar buy signal. And again, this is the type of signal where you can take it with trend, but we've already had kind of a retest of the high, a little bit of a failure here. Maybe we'll take a look at shorting it on a failure below. Now, can I cover it above the high? Yes, I can. I might throw this in as a runner if we fill here to the short side. Seeing how I've got it covered above the high, I definitely know I'll be on the wrong side of the trade. There's considerable support here in this 4210 region. All right, so I'm going to see if this won't run. I'm going to hit break even here in a moment. So now we're coming back with the possible first micro-macro cross. And again, you can see that the first micro-macro cross very often will develop in the same region as a failed red bar buy. Come on, don't be like that. All right, come on. Yeah, Jim says, I'm seeing a large sell equivalent candle at the top end of the range on the YM. Momentum's a problem. Yes, it is. There is considerable support right here at this 4208 line. In fact, what I should be doing is I should be rolling my stops already. And we'll bring our stops in just above here. Reduce the risk. If this breaks down here, come on. Come on. Speaking of Ray Burke, where's Ray Burke when I need him? Push! There we go. All right, let's go. There is room here if we don't get tapped at break even. There is room to take this market all the way down to 42 or lower. Come on. Of course, if you took the first micro macro cross signal, you're probably not in a break-even position just yet. And that may actually prove to work in your favor. Come on. Come on, you know you want to. Darn it. I looked back just a little bit too much. Well, we had the right idea there. Or so it seems. Might be getting a 4-arrow consolidation. You could still take this as a first micro macro cross. I would probably take it as a second push. Take it below the lows, definitely. We should at the very least get our scalp target. In fact, I might rearrange this. Oh, shoot. I'm going to be too late. Doggone it, I wanted to throw in an extra contract. So we need to see 42.05 quarter. Come on, sellers. There we go. Come on. Don't fail me now. Come on. So it's probably prudent. You could probably bring your stops in if you're not already here at 42.12 quarter. That would be a good spot to put your stops. As the buyers attempt to make another push. They really need to see the sellers come back into this market now. Come on now. No, would have got tagged there. So, well, the first trade was break even. The second one, I tried to get cute and get an extra contract in there, but it looks like the market just reaching a little bit too high. All right, you guys, we're going to call it a day today. Remember, tomorrow, Wednesday, is our public trading room, so we're meeting at the other venue, and we'll talk to you guys then. If you're trading the rest of the day, be careful. I suspect that we might see the market tail off a little bit, but the buyers have been very strong. So don't get, too committed to the short side just yet. All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.